Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and I decided to bite the bullet and go see the Crow remake. And what did I think? Now, there are going to be some spoilers. There's no way around it with this film. There has to be some spoilers for me to get my feelings across about this film. There has to be some spoilers involved. Now, going back to when the trailer first came out for this, I was not a fan. The look of Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven was not a fan, was not loving it at all. Now, this film clocks in at about an hour and 45 minutes, and it has been trashed by pretty much everybody. The reviews are just horrible for this film. On one hand, probably rightfully so. On the other, it's not the worst film I've ever seen, but where you have the original film. I mean, you can never remake. You're never going to, it was lightning in a bottle. You're never going to recapture that feeling of Brandon Lee as Eric Draven in the original Crow. I was there. I was in high school when that film came out, and I was there opening weekend when that film came out, and it just caught my imagination. Absolutely loved it. Now, one of the big main parts to that original film is the love story with Eric and Shelley. So it's what the whole film revolves around. And it's done a lot in that original film by way of flashbacks. This film, the new one, wants to take about 40 to 45 minutes of the film and build up this relationship between Eric and Shelley. The problem for me is that the way these two characters meet, because, like I said, there are going to be some spoilers. Like I said, there's no way around it. Shelley's friend is, Shelley and her friend, they're involved in some things going on. Some things that are going on, and they're involved in these things. And her friend winds up being murdered. Shelley kind of gets herself, because she's into drugs, and she runs into these cops, almost like a way of being taken to a rehab center, because she knows that these guys are after her. Just like what happened to her friend, these guys are after her too. So she's able to bump into these cops. They take her away to a rehab center. This is where she meets Eric Draven, because he also has some drug issues. And so they're both in this rehab center. This is how they meet. And, upon Eric realizing that she's in some trouble, they both decide to escape from the rehab center and go and hide out at a friend of hers, a friend's house that Shelley has. Now, it doesn't really specifically say how long they're at this friend's house. I would take it maybe like a week, maybe 2 weeks tops. We're meant to feel like these two all of a sudden have this undying love, this forever love between these two, that Eric is willing to sacrifice everything for her, his entire life for Shelley. I'm not buying it, and I'm not feeling it, because it seems rushed, and it doesn't seem, you feel it in the original. You don't really feel it so much with this one. Now, the actress, something Twigs, I can't think of her full name, who plays Shelley. She's not the best actress in the world. And, I mean, luckily, Bill Skarsgård with what he's given, he does a pretty good job. But he struggles. His acting ability doesn't really come through fully until maybe halfway through the film. And like I said, it's just that struggle where I'm not feeling it. I'm not there. The whole romance just seems rushed and forced and doesn't seem, believable to me, whereas it does in the original film. Now, after those 45 minutes, when everything goes down, and Eric and Shelley are murdered, Eric comes back. And this is kind of where Skarsgård, where he gets acting, and it's not his fault. Bill Skarsgård is a great actor. But this film forgot one essential thing: a plot and a story. Because where this film excels and where it's actually really good is the violence and the gore. Those are top notch. The fight scenes, you've seen in the trailer, when he's coming up, where he's kind of like in this opera house and he's coming up these steps. This is probably the last 20, 25 minutes. This is when the film actually gets pretty good, because there's a lot of action involved. And the violence is top of the line with this film, as far as the violence goes. So with that, the action sequences are great. but it just forgot its plot and its story along the line, and it's hard to, once it tries to make sense of things, it's too far into the film at that point. It's a shame because I really, like I said, it's not the worst film I've seen, but would I recommend? A friend of mine asked me at work, would I recommend seeing it? I said, I would recommend going to see it. If you're a huge Crow fan and you're just, curious to see exactly what this one is like. But after seeing it, I would definitely just recommend wait for it to come on streaming. It's going to be on streaming sooner rather than later. I would wait for streaming to see it. But like I said, the action that's the high point for this film. The love story and the whole thing, I'm not buying it between Eric and Shelley, and that's a shame because Skarsgård, he does his best at what he's given in the film. The look of the Crow, I mean, his look is just, like I said, it's never going to be Brandon Lee. It's just never going to be Brandon Lee. It's not seeing it fully fleshed out on screen. It's not as bad as with the trailer, how it looked in the trailer, but it's still not great. And going back to the original film had that incredible soundtrack. The music in this film is not great at all. It was just it's very lackluster. It's almost like it's non-existent in the entire film. Whereas the first film just had it. It was so bombastic and just so amazing and fantastic. This one is just lacking it. And one of the essential things for the first one and how you can leave it, omit it from this one is just, it's mind-boggling to me. But I guess I would give, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would probably give this film probably like a 4. Anywhere from a 4 to 4.5. And mostly, like I said, it's because of those action sequences towards the end of the film for the last 20-25 minutes. But everything else, it's something you're going to have to, if you're going to see this film, just realize that it's going to take a while for the film to actually try to do something. But even when it gets there, it's maybe a little too late. Too little too late. But overall, like I said, 4.5 for the Crow remake starring Bill Skarsgård. My recommendation is wait for it to come out on streaming. I wouldn't rush out. Don't go see it in the theater. The 4K and the Blu-rays are already up to pre-order. I would kind of even wait on that. Wait until you actually see it for yourself before you want to go out and add this to your collection. But overall, it's not the worst film I've ever seen, but I was really hoping I'd be surprised and I would like it more. So unfortunately, these things happen sometimes, guys. But that's the great thing about film. Not everything is going to be for everybody. So, like, subscribe, and comment if you get the chance, and I'll catch you in another episode. Take care.